Hi everybody and welcome to my latest video. I'm Simon Whiteley, and in this video I'm going to talk about the recent MIT stamp workshop that occurred at the end of March at MIT, hosted by Professor Nancy Leveson and Dr. John Thomas. If you are a system safety engineer, a safety manager, an accident investigator, or somebody interested in safety and safety management, then this video will be of interest to you. The MIT Stamp Workshop is a free event hosted by Nancy Leveson, John Thomas and their team at MIT, where they introduce people to the stamp-based safety assessment approaches, STPA hazard analysis, cast accident analysis, and STPA SEC, which is a cybersecurity focused analysis. For the last, I think 2012 was the first one, I might be wrong, but it's been running for a number of years and I've been going since 2014. Now the event itself is a free event run over 4 days. Day 1 is an introduction to the stamp-based approach and the stamp-based safety assessment approaches, and then days 2, 3 and 4 are essentially a mixture of presentations from various industries, from academia and business across the globe. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to quickly go through what's called the PSAS website, Partnership for Systems Approach to Safety and Security, where the presentations have been posted. So if any of these topics are of interest to you, you can go to this website, and I'll include a link in the description, and you can click on those presentations and have a look at them yourself. Most of the people who've presented, I understand, are on LinkedIn, so if you want to reach out to them personally and get in touch about their work, then I'm sure you're welcome to do that. So let's just have a quick look then. So as I mentioned, on the Monday, this was essentially the tutorials for Stamp, Cast, STPA. And as you can see here, there are a number of presentations there which you can click on and learn, get information and learn from. Now, from my personal perspective, I was very interested in the work of John Thomas. So he talks about STPA and cast facilitation, and this presentation essentially talks about how you would go about facilitating an STPA or cast analysis. Things like team makeup, project planning, things like that. Very interesting. Diogo Castillo presented some work with Nancy Leveson with regards to identifying leading indicators. That's very interesting, especially if you're involved in safety management. In the context of aerospace, that's what the presentation Diogo put together. I highly recommend having a look at that and getting in touch with Diogo if you would like further information. Dr. John Thomas talked about enhancing human factors analysis using STPA. So if you're interested in human factors analysis and also STPA, I recommend having a look at those slides. On Tuesday, this is the first day of the presentation, so Nancy and John introduced the workshop, and then there were various presentations from people from various different industries. So Greg Pope introduced the concept of risk management using STPA when restarting a new production run of something that's not been produced for a number of years. Then there was a talk about STPA analysis in the context of autonomous vehicles. There was some further work with regards to model-based systems engineering. And then one particular of interest to me from a cybersecurity standpoint was some work presented by a lady from the UK National Cybersecurity Centre, Anna G. Now she talks about findings from applying STPA in the context of cybersecurity. So if you're interested in that, I highly recommend clicking on that link and taking a look. Diogo Castillo highlighted some of the work that he's performing as part of his PhD work with regards to something called active STPA, and this is essentially using STPA as part of an operating environment, in this context airlines. So if you're interested in airlines, safety management and safety management systems, I highly recommend having a look at that. Really groundbreaking work, and I'm really excited to see the results of Diogo's PhD this summer. On the Tuesday afternoon, there were some presentations about standards and efforts to introduce STPA and CAST into industry. Now, one particular presentation that was really interesting to me personally was the work by Darren Straker. So Darren is the chief investigator or the head of the Hong Kong Air Accident Investigation branch, and he highlighted some of the work that they've been doing in terms of using CAST as the core of their approach to accident investigation. And I understand that this is the first time, this is groundbreaking work in terms of national accident investigation bureaus. So I highly recommend having a look at that and contacting Darren if you have any questions. So on the Wednesday, the presentations kicked off with looking at some space examples. So this was I think it's a Japanese space agency intelligent rover system. And that was followed by some really interesting cybersecurity aspects associated with the maritime domain. That was really interesting. Nancy Leveson presented a series of information about the improving the risk matrix. So if you're interested in risk matrices, I'd have a look at that. And then as the day went on, there were other interesting topics from other industries, including satellite development, but also from a patient safety and hospital safety perspective, some work by Lawrence Wong and Lisa Singer. That was really interesting. If you're interested in patient safety, I highly recommend having a look at that. The last presentations on the Wednesday afternoon were by Nancy Leveson and John Thomas, and they presented common mistakes using STAMP, STPA and CAST. So if you're starting to use these methods and you are struggling a little bit, I highly recommend looking at these presentations and seeing some of the common mistakes that Nancy and John have highlighted and how to overcome them. And finally, on the Thursday, there were some presentations about space launch operations, STPA in the context of security of aircraft systems, and also STPA in the context of runway incursions. And then finally a presentation about power management in smart grids. So if you're into power generation, smart grids, then I highly recommend having a look at that as well. What I'll do is I'll include a link to the PSAS website in the description so that you can go and look at these presentations that are of interest to you. And as I mentioned, if you have any questions or comments about the event or these presentations, please get in touch with John Thomas. He's on LinkedIn. I'll include a link to him in the description so he's aware of this. And then I think most of the people that have presented, they're also on LinkedIn. So you're welcome to reach out and talk to them about the great work they've been doing. I trust this video is helpful. As I said, if you have any questions, comments or concerns, please comment below. And please remember to like, share and subscribe. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.